Since I'm new, then nobody knows who I am, I guess. So I'll introduce myself. You do great, Wendy. Thank you. I actually kind of prepared the talk, but then when Em delivered her speech, I said all the points that I wanted to mention, actually she took them away. So I kind of like changed my talk, and I will see how long I will talk depending on the time. There were a lot of things that were difficult in my life, but I can say this one is probably on that list because it's so difficult to put 16 years of experience into 8 minutes talk and then to make it personal and engaging. So I named my presentation Do or Do Not, There Is No Try. And it all starts when I was around 20 years ago. I was 28 and I came to China with $150 in my pocket. I come from former Yugoslavia. There was war back home, and I came here to kind of like find some luck, I guess. I had an accommodation for 1 week, and that was all, and a return ticket to back home where there was war. And I was so determined, and I said I was going to sleep in the parks if it takes, but I'm staying in China. I'm not going to move. So my idea of staying in China changed, but I'm still here 25 years later, even if I tried to leave. It was not an easy place to be an entrepreneur, and I never even knew about that word, what it meant. But somehow I thought I wanted to choose jobs that would prevent me from wearing high heels. I don't like high heels. So eventually it led into me doing a series of things as a freelancer and scraping kind of like from month to month. But when I was 28, I actually looked around myself and I thought I had great dreams about myself when I turned 30. And I was 28 and I realized the time was running. I had only 2 years to make my dreams true. And I was working in a bar, I was DJing, I was getting drunk almost every night, and I thought like this was not it. And I'm not even professional in that. I was not even a real drunk, you know? I was doing it only on weekends, you know? So, and I told my friend, I really want to become professional at what I do. If I'm lazy, I want to be the professional lazy person. And that's where it all started. I started my first company, well, my company, I still have it, when I was 32. It was in 2002, all by chance, it was a fluke. I'm not going to go into that. I never imagined that I would run a company, but the moment I got the company, the life changed around me. First, my perception of what it means to run a company is just blew my mind away. I thought I had to have a team of hundreds of people. And I looked around myself. I was doing consulting by that time. I was facilitating workshops in communication, leadership, and so on. So I knew the theory, how to do it, but actually the experience of really doing it was not there. And I realized I failed miserably from, original meeting of 15 people. After a few months, I had one person by my side. And I still have the company. So I became a coach, a management consultant, a coach. By 2008, it was economic crisis, and I started to panic. I saw bigger companies than mine closing down. And I was so afraid. My relationship was falling apart, my marriage. So I got divorced as well. And I ended up with depression. The only string of hope that I had, and that is to have work, to have something meaningful to do, was not there. So I was broke, I was without a relationship, and I decided to go away. I left China for 8 months, I went to Mexico, I took my investment into my retirement plan, and I said, that's it, I'm going to stop paying. And I went to Mexico, and when I went there, after 8 months, I thought, like, I'm not done with China, I have to go back. So I came back. In meantime, I learned about mindfulness. It's actually mindfulness that helped me to get through the depression. And I remember that time there was Cartier Women's Leadership Awards, and they were saying to apply for a grant. And I had this idea, I want to really put together a place where there are people who are coaching others how not to get stressed and burnt out during their work. I didn't get a grant, of course. Continued to invest my own business, and 3 years ago, I was talking to Martin Barnes, and I think he was one of the speakers here. And I said, look, I'm going to start this center, and I'm going to call it Life MBA. And he's like, really? What does that mean, MBA? Well, what are you going to do? And I said, well, it stands for Mind-Body Awareness. And he's like, but you know, whoever searches for your name is going to ask for an MBA program, you know? Why don't you call it Beijing Mindfulness Center? And I'm like, huh, really? So that's what I did. And I started this center with the idea of really supporting people in making sure that they don't drop the ball, to keep the passion. I tried many things. I tried to get investors, I tried to get partners, but until I really started to do things for people, and to stop thinking about my company, to stop thinking about the size, to stop thinking about exactly like how it's going to look like for others. When I started to think with one person that comes to my session, I'm going to be able to create peace in the world, that's where everything changed and everything turned around. So now, these are some of the lessons that I got on the way. First, every morning when I wake up for the past 2 years or so, I make a drawing and I post it on WeChat, and it actually helps me going. Don't expect that things will be easy. If you do, it's going to last short time. The harder it is, the longer it's going to last later, if you manage to go through the hardship. When I was learning to be a consultant and a facilitator, we had this rule: every single new program, do 20% something new. And that is really keeping me going as well. Take a risk, do something new, and go and explore some unknown frontiers. It's all about the decision making, right? But ultimately, if you don't make bad decisions, you're never going to get the experience. So don't beat yourself up. My depression was the result of wanting to look good in front of others and being afraid and scared to say that I failed, basically, and that I was broke and broken in all parts. Another one is, be really careful what you wish for, because you may get it. It took me a while to get that lesson, really, because I made many wishes, and then many times I would also get to the point and I realized, hey, this is not exactly what I wished for. So I came to China and I said I would sleep even in the park, on the benches, and there were a few times when I was very close to being there. And I remember there was one point, it was 90, but there were more moments like that in my life, and until I learned a lesson that money is not everything, I couldn't break that fear, basically, of not having enough. There's always enough. So, and enough is just for you to know that there's always time and space to make a wish on what you want to do. And the last one is, if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will. From the moment I landed in China, when I met with the first group of Yugoslavian people and I told them I'm here and I don't know what I'm going to do, they said, you're crazy, it's the worst time to be in China. Just pack your things and go back. And it's been like that for all the way until 2008 when Olympics came. And then I thought like, wow, this is the best time to be in China. But actually for foreigners, it was the worst. So what is worse, what is the best time? I don't know, you need to figure out what is the right time on the market. But if you really believe in what you're doing, you know, like it took me 10 years from having the idea about having a center and supporting others to being here now and being called to talk or doing a TED talk or anything like that. I run a very small center, it's near Lama Temple, and the groups are small, maybe 10 to 15 people. But there's a community of people who are really not scared to go and say, I'm suffering right now, it's difficult. Or my girlfriend left me yesterday and I don't know what to do. And if you don't have that kind of support, then really think twice, because being an entrepreneur is a really, really difficult and most inspiring thing I've ever done in my life. So have a great journey and be you.